Hello, welcome to Retro Toy Princess. I am Allison Troy, and this is a Friday Live. And yeah, so we're going to be coloring some Star Wars today. This is a Friday Live. Oh, and I have to fix the echo. So there we go. All right. And oh, hello, Andrew. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Yeah, it was for, it was for me as well because it was, of course, part of the special edition stuff. So I remember when the special editions started coming out, going to, I think it was Books A Million, and they had an entire rack. This is not that copy. That one is in storage. But they're pretty cheap to pick up. So I picked up everything they had at the time. So it's a pretty good time. Hello, Rolanda. Welcome. Lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. And hello, Shannon. Lovely to see you. Thanks for showing up. So, like I said, in the description, we're going to do some Star Wars. And I'm going to do this Luke. I, of course, have done my bougie fancy thing where I've scanned this book and then printed it out on a fancier paper because, you know, that's what we do. And it's pretty basic. So I'm going to put a little bit of a background into it. And we're going to use some Karan Dash today for the background. I have been on a little bit of a kick. You won't see it because all of the shorts that I've been doing them in, well, actually, I take that back. Today, the Quicksilver Color and Chill that landed was actually a bunch of Karan Dash, and it was doing that because of the big space scene where I was like, I do not use these enough. And considering how much I wanted them and how much I paid for them, that's kind of a crime. So I've been doing a lot of, so there'll be a lot of the shorts and videos that hit over the next couple of weeks as we move into September that will, in fact, have a lot of Karan Dash, which is cool because I quite like them. They are fun. So I'm going to do the little Tatooine sunset in the background. Hopefully it works. So it'll be a lot of oranges and yellows and some pink. And that will hopefully make Luke, because this is the black outfit, and then the green lightsaber, hopefully that will help it all sort of stick out. I'm just going to go in with these. If you've never seen these sort of demoed outside of time-lapse on my channel, they're a water-soluble. They're like a crown, but of course they're very pigmented. I just go in with different pressures. I like them especially for sort of space scenes because I can get a sort of really nice galaxy effect. And then depending on how much I drench the paper or don't, it gives it a really nice variance. So I feel like I can get really good galaxy looks with these. So yeah. Anyway, so that's what we're going to do. And the picture I saw of the Tatooine sunset that I was looking at was sort of the evening one when Luke goes out and gets all sort of misty-eyed. So it was like pinks and it was purples toward the bottom. So that's what I'm going to do. Do some pink and purple. And then we'll do some like brown sand below all of that. As you know. But, this was my first set that I got when I wanted to try them out. And I have the bigger one. I don't think I'm going to need to break into the bigger one now for what I want to do today. So, but maybe. You never know. I'm trying to use them more for backgrounds because one, they go faster, but I feel like it gives it a much sort of cooler look. So we'll see. Let's double check. Yeah. Right? It's the only time Tatooine ever looked cool to me as a kid was at sunset. So it's a pretty iconic scene, though. I remember even as a kid, like, you know, because I'm so old, I've seen Star Wars in the theater since 1977. But even as a kid, I really remember being struck by how sort of deep that, I mean, I would have been maybe three. Yeah, I would have been like 2 or 3 the first time I saw it. And just how, like, even at that age, I sort of got how deep it was, that sort of scene with all the music and the sunsets. So it's a pretty cool scene. It's iconic for a reason. So yeah, I'm just pink, then some orange, and I'm going to go in with yellow. This is going to get really muddied up when I put the water into it, and that's okay. Unless you're trying to sell the stuff you're doing, if it's a little messy and not perfect, I think that's okay. Art and doing art should be about the fun of it and enjoying it. So if you're not having fun and it's not pleasing to you, then don't do it. And that goes for everything, including boyfriends or girlfriends, if that's your thing. If it stops being fun, just stop doing it. So in most of the pictures, the sun is very white. So I'm going to go in with, in a bit with the Prismacolor cream and some white and just do that so that it sort of stands out. And this was like sort of pink and orange and sort of reddish color. So I'm going to do, I need to do this so that it doesn't blend into that pink. But I'm going to try to get super fancy and arty with this one. So if it goes awry, you guys all get to be here the moment it just turns into a train wreck. And then I'll get the ukulele and do an apology video for ruining your Friday afternoon with bad art. All right. So down here, I'm going to do some purple. And again, once I go in and do the green for the lightsaber, I think it'll really look really cool. So I hope. The fun thing about these Star Wars pages is because they're pretty basic, they sometimes go really fast. So if we do finish, I've got another page or two ready. There's enough time. We'll do the full 2 hours. Well, maybe. We'll do as much as we can today. So if we finish up, I will do a second one if there's enough time. And if not, we can just start our holiday weekend early because I do have Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. I am doing my gem and the holograms solo live stream. People voted, and gem was like 47%. So there are definitely some people wanting gem and the holograms, and I love that. So I'm going to color some gem and the holograms, and I'm going to talk about some of my plans for September for content. So I did one of those last month with Supergirl, and it was a lot of fun. And with it being a holiday weekend, I figured it would be harder to find somebody to join me to color. And I'm not going to lie, sometimes it's fun just to be here on my own, chilling with you guys. Looks like there was a little bit of an art fail because there's some sort of line back here as if there was supposed to be a background because it doesn't actually go with his outfit. So, I find that a lot in these old coloring books. And again, they did these all really quick. Nobody, even in 1997 when they were making out, would expect that in 2024, some bougie person would be on the internet coloring this stuff, trying to fancy it up. So no shade to the original artist. The kids were happy in 97. Hello, lovely to see you, titular heroine. I always want to linger a little bit on the first half of that. So. And hello. Oh, wait, sorry. Hello, Oz. Lovely to see you. Thanks for popping in. That would explain a few things, Andrew, if you can't read. So. It's funny, as a kid, I was always about Gem. I didn't get to watch a lot of the cartoon, and the Gem dolls were a little spendy. And they were hitting at a time I was really into She-Ra. So I didn't actually have any Gem stuff, but I wanted Gem stuff. It was just, like I said, a little too spendy for. We were spoiled, but we weren't that spoiled. And so, and, and it also hit around the time my parents were pretty convinced I was too old to be really playing with toys. So it was a lot harder to get things that weren't like records and 45s and though I think 86, yeah, 86 was the year that I got my first CDs for Christmas. Um, so yeah, and it was in middle school. I was middle school age, so it would have, I was starting to be a little bit more interested in boys than toys and cartoons. Sadly, if only that would have lasted. All right, so I've got that all down. I'm gonna go in now. And I'm gonna use water and just sort of get it a little messy. Yeah, so I'm planning on in the next year, once we're all moved and settled, I do want to get a gym. What that looks like, I don't know. I have looked at maybe just finding sort of a beater one that I can clean up and maybe reroot the hair and sort of fancy it up. But I don't know yet, so that's to be determined. I do know that I'm over the next year gonna sort of buckle down on my collecting and focus, so that it's right now I collect a little bit of everything. All right, so we've got our first sun, and I'm going to get this first because I want this to dry, and I did use a lot of water. That's okay because I do want it to be, because I'm going to go over with my paint pens and add to that. So when it's time to come in and do the other sun, I want that one to be mostly dry. So, all right, and now I'm just going to do the rest of it, and we'll see how it looks. And I am going to use just Prismacolor for Luke himself. This is very I'm trying to go really multimedia with this one. So what is everyone doing for the holiday weekend? I'm going to be a nerd and film videos and pack. So it's about as fancy as it gets around here. Oh wait, it's not a Canada. It's not a Canada and holiday. It's not a holiday in Canada for Andrew next Monday, is it? But that works out because you guys had have a holiday coming up soonish. It seems like that we don't have, so it all evens out in the end. Right? Yeah, so that's what happened. Like wanted to do that the Quicksilver, like for the Silverhawks, it's in outer space, and I watched and Shannon does coloring. Go check her channel out. It's amazing. But so she'll know. Like when I was trying to figure out how to do sort of space and galaxies, I found Color with Claire, and she has this amazing space tutorial where she used the Neo colors. So I was like, I must have those, and I got them, and I have quite enjoyed them. I just end up not using them a lot. It's really easy to sort of get into that hole of like just Prismacolor or whatever your pencil. I went through that. There was a month where all I used was like Black Widow because I was like, these are the best. And depending on what you're coloring, Black Widow pencils are the best. And depending on other things, Prismacolor is the best. I This is a sneak peek for everyone. I haven't figured out what yet, but I did get this week. This new fancy Harmonia set from Castle Arts. So I need to find a page, and I'm going to do some sort of, I'll do a longer form video where I swatch it out and everything, and then color something with it. Probably Princess of Power, because the colors in that box look like they would blend well with She-Ra. So maybe not though, I'll see. But yeah, I'm excited to try those this weekend. So Castle Arts was running some sort of bundle set that and it was through like their stores through Shopify, and somebody had given me a coupon that I was able to use through Shopify. So I got them ridiculously cheap. So I'm really excited to try those. So for those of you who aren't, who don't sort of follow the art tube, it may not mean a lot, but allegedly there are some really cool pencils in there that aren't necessarily in other sets. So I'm going to find it out, and I'll make a video, and there will be a time-lapse coloring at the end for those who are just here for the toy stuff, because that's cool. I like sort of doing the line between the toys and coloring stuff. It's definitely fun. Yeah, see? See, I keep hearing that. And like I opened up, because you want to open it up when it arrives and check it out. And I just looked at it, I'm like, these are so cool. And, like I kept hearing like their colors you can't, nobody else has in their sets. And I kind of rolled my eyes because, you obviously you're going to hear that. But I was looking at them, I really looked at a lot of them. I'm like, these don't really look like anything I have even in Prismacolor. So I'm pretty excited to try them out. It's just, I want to find the right picture so that I get to use as many of them. Yeah, so, and I do have a couple videos like that. A few are filmed already for various. Prismacolor did a bunch of technique boxes that it was when my local craft stores weren't getting this open stock. So I saw that the technique sets had some of those colors in it. And they were on sale at Amazon for like 14 bucks. And so for everything that came with them to get the 3 or 4 pencil colors, that I would have spent $7 to $8 on. They have like some fine liners in there. They have pencil sharpeners. I was like, I might as well just get it and get the few extra things. So anyway, for those who do enjoy more of the coloring stuff, there is some stuff a little bit more geared that direction coming. The algorithm hates me for it, but I am not doing this for the algorithm. I'm doing it because I enjoy it. So. Excellent. Just catching up on chat. Oh, and really quick, I missed you. Hello, figuratively speaking. Thanks for popping in. Sorry I missed that earlier. I got all caught up in excitement over new pencils. And so I feel like I'm getting a pretty good blend with this. I'm trying to let it dry so that when I go into the yellow, it doesn't completely just get too muddy up there. But I like the muddiness and the pink down here. So. Yeah, it's kind of getting good. It's a little too much water. I am using the jankiest old broken water pen I have because it's the only one that has kept enough of a tip through the use. So it won't actually open up enough for me to put water in it. So I am having to dip it like it's an old school ink pen. But actually that adds to the arty feel of it. So apologies, it's a little janky, but and between the bougie paper and the bougie art supplies, something needs to be a little bit janky to keep it down to earth. Otherwise, I just become completely pretentious, and nobody likes that. I do need to get a different cardstock, I think, if I'm going to do more neo colors, because this stuff isn't quite as, the colors don't quite pop as much on this. So I've got 3 other papers that I bought small packs of to try out. So I'll be doing that over the weekend probably too. And it's the fun thing about all the art stuff is just getting to try stuff. And then finding exactly what you like and just running with it. Also, you guys may hear noise in the background, but we're almost to the part of the day where the cats rampage. So apologies, but better they rampage now than 3 a.m. They were rampaging the other night during normal hours and knocked my camera over. So I think I edited most of it, but if you see a short and it looks like the camera wildly spins out of control, that would be the cat. And the cat director's cut. Oh, thank you. Yeah, yeah, it's really not good. I don't like these are so bright and so colorful that like the fact I'm losing a little bit because of the way the paper is sort of soaking it up makes me a little sad. But again, these are all for my personal satisfaction. So since I'm not selling these to anyone, it's okay if there are a flaw here or there. And because I've scanned them and printed them, I can always print out another copy and redo it if it just offends me that much. I've done that once or twice. There are a few shorts that never got released because I hated them so much and redid the page. It's a lot easier now that I'm past the doing a short every day phase of creating stuff. It was a good exercise to do that, but never again. And it can help me learn discipline and scheduling so that I can make content and have a life and stuff, but also I didn't have much of a life because I was doing so much content. So I don't recommend that if you're not making money. If you're making money on YouTube, do whatever keeps you getting that money. But for those of us who aren't making money off of it and making content, remember, take time for yourself. All right, there we are. Okay, that's looking good. Just do a little bit of the distribution in here. There we go. All right. Right now we're going to do all this boring sand. I've just used yellow and brown, and I'm just going to make it muddy. So it's not going to get unboring, but I, I have I have found that it's probably specific to this paper, but I have found that if I do the yellow and the brown sort of with this sort of a directional, I can get a little bit more texture of a textured look for it, which is good for sand. So when you sort of overuse the water, it sort of soaks through the paper a little bit, but it also, again, for ground area, it looks okay because ground's not really consistent that way. So One day I'm going to try to do a whole page using the Neo colors, even like the person, but I'm not quite confident enough yet to go for that. So not today, but one day. I have remarkably little training or experience using watercolor. For whatever reason, I never had to do a lot of watercolor. This is the closest probably I've gotten to watercolor. I do have a set of watercolor pencils, but I have not played enough with them to be super happy with them. So I'm going to try to do that too. I don't like part of why I'm here, besides having slight obsessive personality, is that it gives me a really good excuse to try and do a bunch of art stuff that normally I wouldn't be able to. Like we do this thing as adults, especially where it's hard to justify sort of hobbies. And I think somebody was like, "Oh, everyone does everything they do now as content. It's so predictable." And I'm just like, no, I think a lot of people have realized that if you say you're making content, people leave you alone and let you enjoy your hobbies more. And it also gives you more incentive, I think, to engage in your hobbies because like you're being productive about it. So it's kind of sad that that's the world we live in, but hey, I would rather live in that world than a world where there's no grace at all for finding a way to make your hobbies work. So, which is too bad because everyone's a lot happier, I notice, when you get to enjoy your hobbies. Thank you very much. Muchly appreciated. Oh, and then just finishing this ground up, and with any luck, yeah, that's almost dry, so we'll be able to start some of the paint stuff, which is cool. All right, there we go. We have a nice rough desert floor. Well, it's a little too much water there. All right. I'm going to start with the lightsaber, and I'm actually going to use some of the Neo colors in here as well. And this is where I'm going to break into this bigger set. If I can get it open. There we go. So, because this one has a much lighter green, and I definitely want that lighter green in here. There we go. There we go. Yep. All right. I'm feeling happy about this effect for the lightsaber. I'm sorry, slight technical difficulty, but it's resolved. And for this, I'm just going to directly take a little water from it. I mean, a little pigment from it for water. Oh, there we go. I'm going to let this dry now. So we'll come back in with a paint pen and sort of, I'll go around sort of the black lines for the energy and everything, so that that'll help it look more like a lightsaber and more like, less like black lines. And now I need to paint pens. We're going to go and do the sun here. I'm going to start with a yellow. I'm going to do like a perfect circle. I'm just going to sort of put on little dashes. And just sort of through the orange part. And go in with the sort of red up here. And just a little red right in there. Oh, color theory. Yeah, I technically am not very good at it. I just like putting colors together and hoping it works out. So, hello, Kenzo. Lovely to see you. I hope you're having a good day. Color. One of the things I am going to be getting, I've in the next few months is there's a she has a YouTube channel. Her name is Sarah Renee Clark, and she calls it the Color Cube, and it has cards in it, and you can go in, and each of the cards has like a picture of like flowers or scenery or whatever, and then it has sort of a breakdown of what colors are in that. And I'm gonna pick one of those up, and I'm gonna use it to sort of whenever I'm trying to figure out what colors to use for something. Because every so often I'll get stuck, um, especially because I'm wanting to. Every so often I want to do stuff where it's not necessarily a straight adaptation of sort of the scene, where it might be like all purple, like all purple or all pink or whatever. So I'm gonna pick up one of those and play around with it to try to art some of the stuff up a little bit more. Just gonna go in with cream where the one sun is, and just sort of around the edges, but not fully, so that some of it is still white. And then I am gonna actually go in with white and color over that. Yes. Lightsaber still needs to dry a little bit, so we're gonna let that dry. And while we're letting that dry, we're gonna start work on our Jedi Master. So, well, it says Jedi Knight, so I guess Jedi Knight, but he's technically a Master now. So, and for this, I'm just using a black Prismacolor, and I'm gonna use varying pressures to sort of get the shading out of it. This is actually Prismacolor Scholar. I find I can get quite a bit of texture using these on this particular cardstock paper. So they're a little bit cheaper than regular Prismacolor, and they're not quite as creamy and smooth, but I really like the black from the Scholar side. So. And this is just the excitingness of him basically being in an all-black costume. So he's going in and doing all the pressure. And try not to overdo it so that you don't lose all of the detail. I'm going to try to go light sort of in the front because I do want to try to go in with the green and do some shading to sort of do a reflection. So this is not going to be quite as dark as it might normally be because I'm going to go in with the green. You will hear the Discord going off, and that's because I forgot to turn it off. So my apologies. It's not your Discord, it's my Discord. So I need to, I'm going to look up in a second to see which hand it is that's supposed to be wearing the glove so that I can make sure that that's accurate at least. Let's see if I can figure out how to make that go away. Hopefully that works. All right, there we go. So how is it, Shannon? Because I haven't. Yeah, like I do have questions because obviously a lot of the videos I've seen where people use Color Cube, it looks like they might have been sponsored by Sarah Renee Clark, or she does an interview as part of it. So like, I haven't seen a lot of organic use of it. I think it's a cool idea, but I just because I haven't seen a lot of use of it, I don't know. So I'm really curious. Like, really? Okay. When you did use it, was it enjoyable or was it helpful or was it just one of those things where it's like, oh, it's a cool idea, and then you get it and it's not as cool as it seemed? I guess that's the question because they're not expensive, but they're also not inexpensive. So, and that's money I could spend on more old coloring books, or more pencil sets. So prioritize. Okay, so then I am probably not the right market for that because I don't have usually. I mean, it's not every so often I will, but that's more about like sometimes with master, like when I do He-Man pages, I'll have trouble because I'm like, oh, I did green last time, and I don't want to drop 3 videos, like 3 short time lapses back to back where it's the same 5 colors. So I don't have trouble picking colors. It's just it's remembering to have a variance whenever I'm doing sort of videos back to back. So I don't know, maybe not the whole set. Maybe just getting one and getting it digital instead of an actual tactile cube so that it's there if I need it. So thank you though. That's actually really helpful. So I'm feeling because of that I'm feeling way less. Oh, I have to get that. So and I think a little bit of it is Sarah Renee Clark is very like sort of charismatic, and I really like her videos. So it's also sort of that thing where sometimes you want something because you think the person is kind of cool. Um, so, but yeah, I'm now thinking I'll get digital of like the first one and have that as a backup. But otherwise, save some space in my studio. Oh, there we go. I'm gonna finish this sleeve and then I'm gonna check and see if the green is dry because I'm getting really bored with. I need to take a break from coloring on this outfit. It's a lot of black. Uh, there we go. All right, quick break. All right, that's pretty dry. And I'm just gonna go in with a white and go over the black lines for the energy here on the outside. I will if, there we go. I will confess that I did fall. If you watch any sort of art tube, you've probably seen the ads for the grabby markers. I 100% ended up getting a set, and that's what I'm using right now. I have a hard time with Posca paint pens, which is what a lot of people use. I find these a lot easier than Posca, so I do. If you are one of the people who tune into this for the art stuff exclusively, and you're wondering about paint pens, I have much better luck so far with the grabby pens than I do with Posca. So your mileage will vary because I know people who will use a Posca pen in their video or in sort of the pictures they show on Instagram, and I'm just like, how does that work for you? It never works for me like that. All right. There we go. Almost done. All right, there we go. Oh, got the white. Yep. See that it already starts looking a little bit more like it's glowing, which is what we want. It is a lightsaber. And I'm going to go in with this, it's like a lime green. And I'm just going to make these lines green so that, again, it'll help sort of make it look like it's a glowing lightsaber. Oh, all right. Let's see. A little bit more in here. That looks good. Oh, all right. It's pretty decent glow effect. I probably went a little bit darker with the green in here, so it still kind of looks like black lines, but it's just a dark green. I will not do that again. All right, and I'm going to do this lightsaber now. I'm going to go in with a really light gray. This is basically how I do silver effects. So just going with my lightest gray. This is like cool gray 10%, or maybe warm gray. It's rubbed off, so it's a 10% gray, either cool or warm. And then my 90% warm gray. And then I just go into some shading with that. And this is 20% warm gray. And I just sort of blend the darker with the lighter using that. This is all really small and really fine line art, so it's not quite as evident as it would be if it were a wider space. It gets the job done. Oh, silver-ish. All right, really quick. I need to find out what hand Luke has the glove on. And that's how you know I'm a bad nerd, because I don't remember off the top of my head. Okay, so it's this hand. Thank you to Google search. And I'm going to, again, do lightly because I'm going to go in with green to sort of do a glowy effect in here. So I don't want total darkness. These are, let's see, they're water-based. Yeah, I haven't tried Mark Color yet, and I just wrote that down, Shannon. I'm going to try that next. I mean, I like the grabby better, but there are still things that I don't feel like the grabby does that I want it to do. So, hello, Rhea, lovely to see you. Thank you for popping in. And hello, Wraith Mace. How are you doing today? Nice to see you. So, just going to go in and finish Luke's outfit. And then I'll do his skin and hair. And then we'll finish it up with the glow effect. Well, not really a glow effect, more like a reflection of the green light. So, I'm just getting the pants. I will say the one thing about these scholar pencils that I dislike is that they do need to get sharpened a lot more and a lot more often than regular Prismacolors. So if you every so often there's a set of 60 that will pop up on Amazon for like $20. It's regularly like between 40 to 60. And every so often they'll pop up for around $20, right around the time like I've gone through some of them, and I'm like, oh, that's good timing. And I'll grab a set because it's a pretty good deal for $20. 60 pencils. Even though it's not quite as good as the Prismacolor Premium, like I said, I prefer this black just because I get a lot more. I feel like I get a lot more pigment out of it and can do a lot more shading with it than I can with the regular Prismacolor. And that again could just be based on how hard I color. So if you are a hard colorer, it's a different experience than if you have a light touch. So I used to watch, and I'm not going to name them because it would be rude, but I used to watch videos by a particular color tubist. I guess that's a color tube person, and she was really good. Like I really liked her stuff, and she was just achieving all of these things that I was like, how is this happening? And I was feeling really frustrated with it. And she was just like, oh, it's really easy if you do it this way. And it never worked for me. And then I found Emily Illustrator, and Colorfully Optimistic Corey. And Corey, they were both, and it was an episode where I was a live stream with Emily, and she was talking about hard versus soft coloring, and then Corey, it was a hair tutorial, and Corey was just like, "I'm a really hard colorer," and it clicked. I'm like, "Well, this is why this one person's technique isn't working for me, is because she colors very softly." And so I do better with the tutorials for people who are hard colorers. So because I color really hard. I also, based on the way I hold the pencil. So that is the one thing I will say. If something I'm doing doesn't quite work for you the same way, it's not like that you're doing anything wrong. It's just everyone holds pencils differently. Everyone has a different pressure. It's about finding what works for your stuff. So watching somebody's work definitely will help you figure that out, but there's nothing wrong with you if you see me do something you like and you can't replicate it, no matter if you use the exact same tools or the same technique or whatever. It just means that you're different. So I never quite got that when my art teacher would try to explain that to me as a kid, but now that I'm an adult and have a lot more practice, I mean, I color every day at this point. Um, Even if it's not for the channel, I'll spend like an hour or so coloring in the personal for me coloring books. All of my Joanna Basford. I'll just spend an hour or so for myself just so that I'm getting daily practice. Not everyone has that though, so not everyone is fortunate with their time that they can carve out an hour every day to practice. So that makes a difference too. So um, if you do see something I do and have questions, please feel free to ask. I'm happy to nerd out about it. So, but there are also a lot of really good creators. Shannon, who is in chat off and on all the time. Definitely check her channel out. She does some amazing stuff. It's all about finding the teacher that works for you. I wish I had known that in college, because my college art teacher was terrible. And he's the reason I didn't do any art for a really long time. Because he was just, I don't know. There's definitely a good argument for like learning to do everything a certain way as part of training. And if that had been sort of basis, I think I would have been okay. But it just turned into him with like, this is the only way that this thing can be done. And it tended to be the thing that worked best for his style. He just wasn't a very good teacher. I later found out his wife left him over Christmas and then got everything in the divorce. And I'm going to just say, like, I love that for him. Like, I don't, I hope he, I bless his heart, we used to say in the South. I'm sure he enjoys whatever it is he's doing in life now. Being single and miserable. Anyway. Yeah, I've been sure. I have a lot of bad drawing habits, and I have been doing YouTube tutorials. I've got a few books to sort of retrain myself because I haven't been coloring a lot. I mean, drawing a lot. So it's been really easy to sort of slowly retrain how I draw. So hopefully within another 6 to 8 months, I can start making my own coloring pages. That's kind of the goal because there are a lot of things from the characters from the 80s who don't have, or they have really bad coloring books. So that's a good one. Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Just bless his heart. I used to say that all the time, and then it got out that people from the South, when we say that, it doesn't always mean bless your heart the way, in a heartfelt way. Sometimes it's a sweet way of, it's a sweet Southern way of saying go F yourself. And So I've sort of shifted to, I love that for him because, well, everybody still knows that I'm telling them to go F themselves, but at the same time, you know, it's not as overused yet as bless your heart. I mean, I can't even get bless your heart out anymore without it just being completely sarcastic. So I think that I was at my last terrible job before the job I had now. Me and my then manager sort of had a disagreement, and he was wrong. And I can admit when I'm wrong about something, but I wasn't wrong in this instance. He was wrong. He later had to admit he was wrong and apologize. But in the middle of it, I'm like, well, you're just wrong. It's okay that you don't get that. I understand. You're kind of clueless. Bless your heart. And he was like, that was when it clicked for him that every time I had ever told a customer on a phone call, bless their heart, that I was telling them to F themselves. So then that was when I was like, maybe I need to start using something else. So that did get me into trouble one time because it was somebody from the South and they said something. I'm like, oh, bless your heart. And she goes, I'm from the South. I know what that means. And I'm like, well, bless your heart more so then. So anyway. But that was the only time anybody figured it out. All right. All right. For the skin. Wait. All right. For the skin, I used eggshell as my first layer, and then Mark Hamill has like blondish brownish hair, so I used cream as sort of my base layer. Um, it was around Return of the Jedi when they sent him to Super Fantastic Sam's to get this haircut, that his hair started getting more brown. So we're gonna sort of go more brown with it than I might normally if it were like earlier Luke. But definitely once he got that Fantastic Sam's cut in Return of the Jedi, he's way more brown haired than he is blonde. And I think that happens too. I had a friend who was very blonde throughout high school, and then at some point in college, his hair just got really dark. So I was like, okay. And then he started sort of bleaching it so that people would think he was still a blonde. It was not a good look for him. But he also overbleached, so it kind of got that yellow color to it. He kind of got mad because I was like, oh, I like this color you're doing. What is that, chicken fried blonde? And he did not appreciate that I referred to it as chicken fried blonde. Thought I was paying it a compliment. We all love chicken when it's fried, so, but whatever. He's bald now, so it worked out. Like super bald. Like there's nothing. It's like just off. And it could be because he did that chicken fried blonde too many times, and you can't over process your hair like that without some sort of consequence. All right, and um, so for Luke's hair, it's burnt ochre, some yellow ochre, and goldenrod. I'm going to go in now with espresso and just darken it up a little bit more around the roots. In this particular art, because it's very sort of stylized, it's not as easy to get sort of the detailed look I can get with some of the other Star Wars books I have. So it's one of the reasons I mean, as lazy as this is about to sound, it's one of the reasons I like using these pages for live streams, because I definitely can usually finish one during the stream, and I like being able to finish a full page. Whereas some of the other ones, they are pretty complicated, and it can sometimes take, if I were having to go in and do strands, like really good strands for this, it would take a lot longer. And I just kind of like hanging out with you guys and coloring and babbling on the internet. Yeah, it's all the time. All the time. Exactly, you get it. It's funny, like somebody, like I'm just gonna say, somebody tried to insult me one time by referring to me as white trash, and I'm just like, sweetie, my parents used to own a trailer park. I'm the princess of white trash. It's not insulting to me. Like, I know where I come from, and you know, I grew up in the South, and like from, let's call them humble means. And I was very spoiled, because when my parents did start making money, like they paid it forward to us. But like there were years where it was tough. There were a couple years where we were on food stamps and stuff, and that's just how it is sometimes. And I don't know. So anyway, white trash, whenever people have called me that, never insulted me, because it just says more about you that you think that's an actual insult. But whatever. I thank you. Lovely to see you, Dave. How are you today? Also, Dave, you will be happy to know, based on your recommendation, I did watch the new Beverly Hills Cop movie recently. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I think I laughed more in that movie. We'll watch it, not in, because it was obviously on Netflix, but I actually laughed quite a bit at that. So thank you for your very honest review, and I enjoyed it. Like, it's been a really long time since I've enjoyed any movie with Eddie Murphy in it, so it was quite the surprise. As you can see, I'm breaking into my Prismacolor, my landscape set. This is one of the ones where I use a lot of color. As you can see, we're almost to a point where I either need to reorder it, or this needs to get moved into my pencil case, because some of these are pretty far gone. But, and then I'll just repurpose that for open stock stuff. So I put the eggshell down for Mark Hamill has a very sort of orangish hue to his skin. So I'm going to go in with pumpkin orange and use that for my shading. A little bit more so in Return of the Jedi than he did in others. It was also around the time everyone in Hollywood started doing a lot of tanning. So I'm going to assume between the sort of like, oh, we're all really tan this year, and the fact that they were in the deserts of Arizona for many months filming parts of this movie, that some of his orangeness is just too much sun. But we're going to honor that with this pumpkin orange. Just go in, and it's just shading, so it doesn't have to be all over. When I do shading on a face, I try to stick to the outer lines and the edges. Yeah. And sort of anywhere where a shadow should naturally be. And then I'm not going to forget his hand down here. Even though for some reason he only has 3 fingers on this one, the artist on this book made a couple creative choices like that. There's a Princess Leia in here where she also only has 3 fingers. But he has a full 4 and then a thumb over here, so I don't. Maybe he's half Muppet. I don't. But I'm not gonna go in and try to create a finger. We're just gonna let it happen. We're not gonna shame him for only having the 3 fingers. He's obviously doing it, so that would be very ableist of him. All right, and then after the pumpkin orange for Luke, I'm gonna go in with nectar, which is another sort of, it's sort of a very, very dark peach. Has some pinks to it, but also a little bit of that sort of orangish red. So again, for that sort of over-tanned look Mark Hamill had in 1983 for Return of the Jedi, this is going to work pretty well. So. And for this, I'm just going to start blending some of that orange that I used into the eggshell. I'm not completely cover it, not yet. We still have like another, there's still another color or two that I'm going to add in here for his skin tone. Oh, that's pretty good. And again, I don't want to forget his poor little, his weird Muppet hand. Yeah, Tucson. Oh, yeah, that joke I almost made is not for. That's for after prime. That's for after 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But there was a good joke I just had in my head, and just did not happen. All right, let's see. Okay. And now I'm just going to go in with regular peach for sort of blend it out a little bit, not a lot. I'm kind of sort of in this case okay that the skin tone is going to be a little rough because it's very stylized, and this one there's no way to really make this look like a real, like there's only so much realism you can add to it. So I want to go. I'm okay with it being a little more artistic as far as how my color blend is. If this were closer to an actual face portrait of him, I would go way more into trying to get a really realistic skin tone. But here I want it to be sort of this stylized art look. So I'm going to sort of lean into that with how I'm doing the skin tone. One thing I have tried to had to remember to do sometimes when I do these pages is to try to match the art style. I'm wanting to elevate these old books a little bit, but I also don't want to overdo it, so that there was a time where I overdid a few pages. I'm not going to say which ones. You can go watch all of my daily shorts. There's a playlist. There's 365 of them. You can go watch all of those and see if you can figure out which ones I overdid. And if you go in and comment, I overdid it, I will, and you find it, and it is actually one of the ones, I will send you a free sticker. I've got a couple sheets of these glitter pumpkins. If you go find an overdone short and comment, you overdid this one, and it is one of the ones I self-identify with as overdone, I will send you a sticker. So And if 17 of you find it, that's fucking. Like, I will send 17 people a sheet of. Well, I don't have 17 stickers. I'll cut it down. You'll get at least a couple glitter pumpkins. Like, and if I run out of glitter pumpkins, I did treat bags during the lockdown, so I have a bunch of like Halloween stickers for like the little treat bags I made. So if you find it and comment, I will send you either a glitter pumpkin or some sort of festive Halloween sticker. Obviously, we'll have to exchange addresses or whatever, but if you're game, have at it. But and that is the disadvantage to the whole 365 days of shorts that I did last year was if something was just not up to snuff or I overdid it and didn't quite like it, I still had to drop it because I had that self-made goal. But also that for me, I didn't do art for a really long time, even this, because I got really wrapped up in my head. So like having that, oh, something has to get released. Because I told everyone I was going to do a short every day for a year and I can't fail. It really helped me get out of sort of perfectionism or being scared. Like, it's just not going to be that great. I shouldn't do it. It's really good to get out of that. I mean, you obviously shouldn't be releasing a constant barrage of bad, but it really just helped me get out of my head about it and just create stuff and make it and throw it out there. All right, so okay, very good. All right, I'm gonna put some green light reflection on him. And for that, I'm gonna break into the Prismacolor manga set because I finished using the last of my open stock chartreuses, so time to break into the box. And yes, if there's a set of Prismacolors out there, I probably have it in my collection. So I am that person. Oh my gosh, it's a new set. There might be a color I don't have. Even if there's not, I'm still going to pick it up. So this side of the face I'm going to do with the green, and I'm just going to end it sort of right down the middle along the bridge of the nose so that we can get that, help carry out the illusion of this lightsaber. And I'm going to do the same thing along the front of his tunic right in here. I'm not going to go super dark, just light enough so that it shows through. Yep, that's showing up on camera. It doesn't show up as good on camera. I will be taking a picture of this when it's done, and I'll stick it on Instagram. Once I get set up in my new studio, some of the camera issues and the lighting issues will be fixed. So, of course, we'll put some down here on the hand, because this is well, I don't know if they have leather in the Star Wars universe, but whatever kind of reflective leather-like material this is, it's definitely going to reflect some of the screen. And a little bit along the top of his hand. And a little bit just sort of right here in the front of the hair. Right, there we go. And I think Luke is done. So there we go. And oh wow, that looks actually pretty good on camera as well. So actually we're not fully done. There's this little down here on the bottom, it's got Luke Skywalker, Jedi Knight, leader of the Alliance. So we're going to color that in. Before that, I have this really cheap set of alcohol markers I got a couple, like 2 summers ago, to practice with. They're not very good. This one is actually dead, so let's get rid of that one. It's about the third time I've discovered that one is dead, and I keep putting it back in the case. I'm going to just throw it out. There we go. And I'm just going to go down. Oh, this one is dying too. Wow. Alright. One last shot. And then I'll just Quran dash it. Let's see if this one works. Oh, here we go. Got a green one. Or do we? There we are. Okay. Third time is the charm. Let's go in. And these bleed pretty bad on this paper, so I'm not going to go all the way to the line because it will finish going to the line on its own. This is not marker paper at all, and it shows, but it works okay for this. Okay, now it's stuck. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and take it out. There will be a picture of this in a little bit on Instagram. For those who follow me over there. There are two accounts. There's Allison _of Troy. That one has more than just coloring stuff on it. I don't necessarily post a lot of political stuff over there, but if it happens on Instagram, that's where it is. If you're just interested in channel stuff, it's Alice retro_toy_princess, and that's 100% just stuff related to the channel. So you can pick the engagement you want, or feels most appropriate. Again, I don't post necessarily a lot of political stuff, but if it slips through, that's where it's at. So. All right, so Luke is done. Let's see, we've got about 36 minutes before technically I was going to end. I don't think I can actually get anything done in that time. And my stomach and my bladder have just reminded me that they exist. So I think I'm going to wrap this up a little early today. And that's fine because we are doing a solo stream Sunday morning at 11 a.m. for some gym. And not knowing how long any of that will take, I picked a couple pages. I have got this one with Shayna and Kimber. And then this one is fun. The Misfits are all wet because Synergy they were trying to mess with Jem at the pool, and Synergy threw some water on them. And it's part of a double-page spread with Jem and Eric, because who doesn't love the old white dude in a suit? I wonder why he was never a doll in the old toy line. So I'm going to start with this as a 2-page spread. Definitely I'm not going to finish it, I don't think. And if for some reason I do, we'll move to Shauna and Kimber. So, but this is what I'm going to be working on Sunday morning for the stream. And we'll just chat about what I'm planning in September and Gem and the holograms. So anyway, yeah, there's a picture in here of Pizzazz all covered in seaweed. I think I'm going to do that as a short though, because it's fun. So anyhow, so we'll see this. You will see this Sunday morning if you join me. And a nice picture of this will be on Instagram shortly. So I am going to go ahead and wrap up. Thank you to everyone who hung out today and chatted and kept me company. It's muchly appreciated. Let's see, Color and Chill, Silverhawks hit this morning. Tomorrow is the fifth Saturday. Technically, there's no content on that I normally plan for Saturdays on the fifth one, but I did a color and chill spectacular of Silver Age Wonder Woman covers. So there's like 5 different Wonder Woman coloring pages in one video. They're about 4 to 5 minutes each, so that's there for you. So definitely check it out. Thank you so much for joining me again. I appreciate you all. I will see you in the next one. Alice in Charlotte, Retro Toy Princess, out.